When Jesus had finished speaking, a Pharisee invited him to eat with him. So he went in and reclined at the table. But the Pharisee was surprised when he noticed that Jesus did not first wash before the meal. Then the Lord said to him, "Now then, you Pharisees bring the outside of the dish, but inside you are full of greed and wickedness. You foolish people, do not the one who made the outside make the inside also? But now, for what is inside you, be generous to the poor, and everything be clean for you. Woe to the Pharisees, because you have got a tenth of mint root and all other kind of garden herbs, but you neglect justice and the love of God. You should practice the latter without leaving the former undone. Woe to the Pharisees, because you love the most important seats in the synagogues and respect for greetings in the marketplaces. Woe to because you're like unmarked graves, which people walk over without knowing it. One of the excerpts in the law answered him, "Teacher, when you say those things, you insult us also." I just recited Luke 11:37-45. New International Language.
My name is Sally Sugar, and I'll be reciting Psalm 40 for the director of music of David, a psalm. I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slime pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn praise to our God. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in him. Blessed is the one who does not listen to pride, to those who turn aside to false gods. Many, Lord my God, are the wonders you have done, the things you have planned for us. None can compare with you. Were I to speak and tell of your deeds, they would be too many to record. Sacrifice and offering you not desire. Then I said, "Here I come." It is written about me in school. I desire to do your will, my God, dwells within my heart. My name is Saul Sugar, and I just recited Psalm 40.
My name is Samantha Schrack, and I'll be reciting The Golden Cat by Oliver Herford. Great is the golden cat who treads the blue roof garden o'er our heads, the never-tired smiling one that human people call the sun. He stretches forth his paw of dawn, and though the blinds are closely drawn, his claws peep through like rays of light to catch the fluttering bird of night. He smiles into the hayloft dim, and the brown hay smiles back at him. And when he strokes the earth's gray fur, he makes the fields and meadows purr. His face is one big golden smile, it measures round at least a mile. How dull our world would be and flat without the golden pussycat. I have just recited The Golden Cat by Oliver Herford.
Hide and Seek by A.B. Schifrin. When I am alone and quiet alone, I play a game and it's all my own. I hide myself behind myself, and then I try to find myself. I hide in the closet where no one can see. Then I start looking around for me. I hide myself and look for myself. There once was a shadow I took for myself. I hide in the corner, I hide in the bed, and then when I come near me, I pull in my head. I just recited Hide and Seek by A.B. Schifrin.
Good afternoon. My name is Kadam, and I'll be reciting Deuteronomy 30, verses 11 through 20, New King James Version. The choice of life or death. For this commandment which I command you today is not too mysterious for you, nor is it far off. It is not in heaven that you should say, "Who will ascend into heaven for us and bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it?" Nor is it beyond the sea that you should say, "Who will go over the sea for us and bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it?" But the word is very near you, in your mouth and in your heart, that you may do it. See, I have set before you today life and good, death and evil. That I command you today to love the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, to keep his commandments, his statutes, and his judgments. that you may live and multiply. And the Lord your God will bless you in the land which you go to possess. But if your heart turns away so that you do not hear, and you are drawn away and worship other gods and serve them, I announce to you today that you shall surely perish. You shall not prolong your days, the land you cross over the Jordan to go in and possess. I call heaven and earth as witnesses today against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life, that both you and your descendants may live, that you may love the Lord your God, that you may obey his voice, that you may cling to him, for he is your life and the length of your days, and that you may dwell in the land which the Lord swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give them. Deuteronomy 30, verses 11 through 20.
Hello, my name is Clementine Daimler, and I'll be presenting The Fox Without a Tail by Aesop. A fox was once caught in a trap, and the only way he could save himself was by leaving his tail behind him, knowing that without a tail he would be a laughingstock of all the other foxes. He almost wished he had died rather than having saved himself. Determined to make the best of the bad situation, he called a meeting of foxes and proposed that everyone should follow his example. You have no idea of the ease and comfort with which I now move about, he asserted. I would never have believed it if I hadn't tried it myself. But when you really think about it, a tail is such an ugly, inconvenient, unnecessary appendage, and the only wonder is that we, as foxes, could have put up with it for so long. Therefore, I propose, my worthy brethren, that you all profit from my wonderful experience, that from this day on, all foxes should cut off their tails. When he sat down, a silent fellow stood up, and waving his long brush with graceful air, he said, "If I had lost my tail as you did, your proposal would be very convincing. But until I have such an accident, my vote will always be in favor of keeping our tails." Moral: be wary of advice prompted by selfishness. The Fox Without a Tail by Aesop.
Hello, my name is Ben Schaefer, and I will be presenting The Grasshopper and the Ants, an Aesop fable. All summer long, a merry grasshopper spent his days making music. When he saw the ants marching past him in a line, carrying seeds and grain to store in their hill, he laughed at their toil. How foolish to work so hard in the hot sun. Summer's the time to play and sing. There's time enough to worry about winter when the first snow falls. But when the days grew short and the first snow fell, the grasshopper could find nothing to eat. Shivering in the cold, he came to ask the ants for help. "Please, can't you spare me a seed or a leaf?" he begged. "I'm too hungry even to sing." The ants shrugged in disdain. "We worked hard for our food, and we have none to spare. All summer long, you made nothing but music. Now all winter long, you dance." Moral: do not put off for tomorrow what you should do today. The Grasshopper and the Ants, an Aesop fable.
Good afternoon. My name is Adelaide Tom, and I will be presenting All Things Bright and Beautiful by Cecil Francis Alexander. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful. The Lord God made them all. Each little flower that opens, each little bird that sings, made their glowing colors. He made their tiny wings. The purple-headed mountain, the river running by, the sunset and the morning that brightens up the sky, the cold wind in the winter, the pleasant summer sun, the ripe fruits in the garden. He made them everyone. He gave us eyes to see them and lips that we might tell. How great is God Almighty, who has made all things well. All Things Bright and Beautiful by Cecil Francis Alexander.
My name is Audrey Volkov, and I will be presenting Food for the Hungry by Greta Swan. 5,000 men and 5 loaves of bread? That's all there is? That's how they'll be fed? Well, not exactly. We also have fish, but there's really just 2 in this little lad's dish. Oh, don't forget, we have children here too. Along with their moms, I'd say quite a few. You know what I think? We should send them away. They must all be tired. It's been a long day, and that bit of food might be good for just 2. They'd better go home. What else can they do? But Jesus had pity on this great hungry bunch and gladly accepted the little boy's lunch. They mustn't have wondered, what will he do now? What a dilemma. They've caught him somehow. But then Jesus said, with the groups here and there, looked up to heaven to offer a prayer. The loaves kept on growing. Well, that's how it seemed. And fish, there were plenty, more than they had dreamed. But would you believe, when those thousands were fed, there were 12 baskets up, full of fish and of bread. It just goes to show that when God's in control, he cares for the body as well as the soul. What more can you ask when your needs are all met? That's God's greatest offer, the best you can get. Food for the Hungry by Greta Swan.
My name is Elliot Osborne, and I will be presenting Matthew 6:25-33. NIV. Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds there. They do not sow, nor reap, nor store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to life? And why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers of the field grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire. Will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Matthew 6:25-33.
Hello, my name is Eli, and today I will be reciting Psalm 9, 1-8, New King James Version, prayer and thanksgiving to the Lord's upright judgments. I will praise you, O Lord, with my whole heart. I will tell of all your marvelous works. I will be glad and rejoice in you. I will sing praise to your name, O Most High. When my enemies turn back, they shall fall and perish at your presence. For you have maintained my right and my cause. You sat at the throne, judging in righteousness. You have rebuked the nations. You have destroyed the wicked. You have blotted out their names forever. O enemy, destructions are finished forever, and you have destroyed cities. Even their memory has perished, but the Lord shall endure forever. He has prepared his throne for judgment. He shall judge the world in righteousness, and he shall administer judgment for the peoples in uprightness. Psalm 9, 1-8, New King James Version.
Hello, my name is Ivan Tilton, and today I'm going to be presenting The Tortoise and the Eagle, an Aesop's fable. A tortoise, discontented with his lowly life and envious of the birds he saw disporting themselves in the air, begged an eagle to teach him to fly. The eagle protested that it was idle for him to try, as nature had not provided him with wings. But the tortoise pressed him with entreaties and promises of treasure, insisting that it could only be a question of learning the craft of air. But so the eagle consented to do the best he could for him and picked him up in his talons, soaring with him to a great height in the sky. He then let him go, and the wretched tortoise fell headlong and was dashed to pieces on a rock. The tortoise and the eagle. Moral: nothing can be either safe or easy that's unnatural.
Hello, my name is Claire Dunn, and I'll be presenting Afternoon with Grandma by Barbara A. Huff. I always shout when Grandma comes, but Mother says, now please be still and good and do what Grandma wants. And I say, yes, I will. So off we go in Grandma's car. There's a brand new movie quite nearby. She says that I'd rather like to see. And I say, so would I. The show has horses and chases and battles. We gasp and hold hands the whole way through. She smiles and says, I like that lots. And I say, I did too. It's made me hungry though, she says. I'd like a malt and tarts with jam. By any chance, are you hungry too? And I say, yes, I am. Later at home, my mother says, I hope you were careful to do as bid. Did you and Grandma have a good time? And I say, yes, we did. Afternoon with Grandma.
Hello, my name is Eleanor Bowder, and I will be reciting I Said a Prayer for You Today by Bill Anderson. I said a prayer for you today. I know God must have heard. I felt the answer in my heart, although he spoke no word. I did not ask for wealth or fame. I knew you wouldn't mind. I asked him to send treasures of a far more lasting kind. I asked that he be near you at the start of each new day, to grant you health and blessings, and friends to share your way. I asked for happiness for you, in all things great and small. But it was for his loving care I prayed the most of all. I said a prayer for you today by Bill Anderson.
Hello, my name is Bryn Rogers, and I'll be presenting for you today James 4, 1 through 10. Where do wars and fights come from among you? Do they not come from your desires of pleasure that war in your members? You lust and do not have. You murder and covet, yet you cannot obtain. You ask, but do not receive, because you ask amiss, and you may spend it on your pleasures. Adulterers and adulteresses, do you not know that friendship with the world is an enmity with God? Whoever therefore wants to be friends with the world makes himself an enemy with God. Or do you think that the scriptures say in vain, the spirit that dwells within us yearns jealousy, but he gives more grace. Therefore, he says, God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Humble yourself, submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners. Purify your hearts, you double-minded. Lament and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning, and let your joy to gloom. Humble yourself in the sight of the Lord, and he will lift you up. James 4, 1 through 10.
Hello, my name is Jack Schaefer, and I will be presenting Psalm 97, New King James Version. The Lord reigns. Let the earth rejoice. Let the multitude of the isles be glad. Clouds and darkness surround him. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of his throne. A fire goes before him and burns up his enemies round about. His lightnings light the world. The earth sees and trembles. The mountains melt like wax at the presence of the Lord. At the presence of the Lord of the whole earth. The heavens declare his righteousness, and all the people see his glory. Let all be put to shame who serve carved images, who boast of idols. Worship him, all you gods. Zion hears and is glad, and the daughters of Judah rejoice because of your judgments, O Lord. For you, Lord, are most high above all the earth. You are exalted far above all gods. You who love the Lord hate evil. He preserves the soul of his saints and delivers them out of the hand of the wicked. Light is sown for the righteous, and gladness for the upright in heart. Rejoice in the Lord, you righteous, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holy name. Psalm 97, New King James Version.
Hello, my name is Cecilia Top, and I will be presenting the peacock in Aesop's fable. The peacock, they say, did not at first have the beautiful feathers in which he now takes so much pride. These, Juno, whose favorite he was, granted to him one day when he begged her for a train of feathers to distinguish him from the other birds. Then, decked in his finery, gleaming with emerald, gold, purple, and azure, he strutted proudly among the birds. All regarded him with envy. Even the most beautiful pheasant could see that his beauty was surpassed. Presently, the peacock saw an eagle soaring high up in the blue sky and felt a desire to fly, as he had been accustomed to do. Lifting his wings, he tried to rise from the ground, but the weight of his magnificent train held him down. Instead of flying up to greet the first rays of the morning sun or to bathe in their rosy light among the floating clouds at sunset, he would have to walk the ground, more encumbered and oppressed than any common barnyard fowl. Do not sacrifice your freedom for the sake of pomp and show. The Peacock, an Aesop.
Hello, my name is Hugh Dowers, and I will be presenting Good and Bad Children by Robert Louis Stevenson. Children, you are very little, and your bones are very brittle. If you would grow great and stately, you must try to walk sedately. You must still be bright and quiet, and content with simple diet, and remain through all bewildering, innocent and honest children. Happy hearts and happy faces, happy play in grassy places. That was how, in ancient ages, children grew to kings and sages. But the unkind and the unruly, and the sort who each unruly, they must never hope for glory. Theirs is quite a different story. Cruel children and crying babies all grow up as geese and gabies, hated as their age increases by their nephews and their nieces. Good and Bad Children by Robert Louis Stevenson.
Hello, my name is Arden Johnson, and I will be presenting The Thread of Life by Christina Georgina Rossetti. The irresponsive silence of the land, the irresponsive sounding of the sea speak both one message of one sense to me. Aloof. Aloof. We stand aloof, so stand up too aloof, bound with a flawless band of inner solitude. We bind not thee, but who from thy self-chain shall set thee free? What heart shall touch thy heart? What hand thy hand? And I am sometimes proud and sometimes meek, and sometimes I remember days of old when fellowship seemed not so far to seek, and all the world and I seemed much less cold, and at the rainbow's foot lay surely gold, and hope felt strong in life itself, not weak. Thus am I mine own prison. Everything around me free and sunny and at ease. Orphan shadow in a shade of trees which the sun kisses. where the gay birds sing, and where all winds make various murmuring, where bees are found with honey for the bees, where sounds are music, and where silences are music of an unlike fashioning. Then gaze I at the merry-making crew and smile a moment, and a moment's sigh, thinking, why can I not rejoice with you? But soon I put the foolish fancy by. I am not what I have, nor what I do, but what I was I am. I am even I. Therefore, myself is that one only thing I hold to use or waste, to keep or give, my sole possession, every day I live, and still mine own, despite time's winnowing, ever mine own while moons and seasons bring from coolness, ripeness, mellow and sanative, ever mine own, till death shall ply his sieve, and still mine own when saints break grave and sing, and this myself as king, unto my king I give, to him who gave himself for me, who gives himself to me, and bids me sing a sweet new song of his redeemed, set free. He bids me sing, O death, where is thy sting? And sing, O grave, where is thy victory? I just presented The Thread of Life by Christina Georgina Rossetti.
Hello, my name is Ellie Singer, and I'll be reciting 1 John 4, 7 through 19. God's love and ours. Dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. This is how God showed his love among us. He sent his one and only Son into the world, that we might live through him. This is love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son as an atoning sacrifice for our sins. Dear friends, since God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. No one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in us, and his love is made complete in us. This is how we know that we live in him, and he in us. He has given us of his Spirit, and we have seen and testify that the Father has sent his Son to be the Savior of the world. If anyone acknowledges that Jesus is the Son of God, God lives in them, and they in God, and so we know and rely on the love God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. This is how love is made complete among us, so that we will have confidence on the day of judgment. In this world, we are like Jesus. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. We love because he first loved us. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Charlotte McEachran, and I will be presenting Psalm 46 to the choir master of the sons of Korah, according to Alamoth, a song. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth gives way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God will help her when morning dawns. The nations rage, the kingdoms totter. He utters his voice. The earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come, behold the works of the Lord,
how he has brought desolations on the earth. He makes the wars cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow. He shatters the spear. He burns the chariots with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Psalm 46.
Hello, my name is Miller Stevens, and I'll be reciting Liberty Tree by Thomas Paine. In a chariot of light from the regions of day, the goddess of liberty came. 10,000 celestials directed the way, and hither conducted the dame. A fair budding branch from the gardens above, where millions with millions agree. She brought in her hand as a pledge of her love, and the plant she named Liberty Tree. The celestial exotic struck deep in the ground. Like a native, it flourished and bore. The fame of its fruit drew the nations around to seek out this peaceable shore. Unmindful of names or distinction they came, for freemen like brothers agree. With one spirit endued, they one friendship pursued, and their temple was Liberty Tree. Beneath this fair tree, like the patriarchs of old, their bread in contentment they ate. Unvexed with the troubles of silver and gold, the cares of the grand and the great. With timber and tar, they of England supplied, and supported her power on the sea. Her battles they fought without getting a garrote, for the honor of Liberty Tree. But here, ye o swains, to tale most profane, how all the tyrannical powers, kings, commons, and lords, are uniting amain to cut down this guardian of ours. From the east to the west, blow the trumpet of arms. Through the land let the sound of it flee. Let the far and the near all unite with the cheer in defense of our Liberty Tree. Liberty Tree by Thomas Paine.
The Destruction of Sennacherib by Lord Byron. The Assyrian came down like a wolf on the fold, and his cohorts were gleaming in purple and gold, and the sheen of his spears like stars on the sea, when the blue wave rolls nightly on the deep Galilee. Like the leaves of the forest when summer is green, that hosts their banners at sunset were seen. Like the leaves of the forest when autumn hath blown, that hosts on the morrow lay withered and strown. For the angel of death has spread his wings on the blast, and breathed in the face of the foes of hast. The eyes of the sleepers waxed steady and chill, and their hearts with once heaved and fervor grew still. And there lay the steed with his nostril all wide, but through it there rolled not the breath of his pride, and the foam of his gasping lay white on the turf. And the foam of his gasping lay white on the turf, as cold as the spray of the rock-beating surf. And there lay the rider, distorted and pale, with the dew on his brow and the rust on his mail. And the tents were all silent, the banners alone, the lances unlifted, the trumpets unblown. And the widows of Asher are loud in their wail, and the idols are broke in the temple of Baal. And the might of the Gentile, unsmote by the sword, hath melted like snow in the glance of the Lord. The Destruction of Sennacherib by Lord Byron.
I will be presenting an excerpt from The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. It was at this point that Bilbo stopped. Going on from there was the bravest thing he ever did. The tremendous things that happened afterward were as nothing compared to it. He fought the real battle in the tunnel alone, before he ever saw the vast danger that lay in wait. At any rate, after a short halt, go on he did, and you can picture him coming to the end of the tunnel and opening much the same size and shape as the door above. Through it peeps the hobbit's little head. Before him lies the great bottommost cellar, or dungeon hall, of the ancient dwarves, right at the mountain's root. It is almost dark, so that its vastness can only be dimly guessed, but rising from the near side of the rocky floor, there is a great glow, the glow of Smaug. There he lay, a vast red golden dragon, fast asleep. A thrumming came from his jaws and nostrils, and wisps of smoke, but his fires were low and slumber. Beneath him, under all his limbs, and his huge coiled tail, and about him on all sides, stretching away across the unseen floors, lay countless piles of precious things, gold, wrought and unwrought, gems and jewels, and silver, red-stained in the ruddy light. Smaug lay,
with wings folded like an immeasurable bag, turned partly on one side so that the hobbit could see his underparts and his long, pale belly, crusted with gems and fragments of gold from his long line on his costly bed. Behind him, where the walls were nearest, could dimly be seen coats of mail, helms and axes, swords and spears hanging. And there, in rows, stood great jars and vessels, filled with a wealth that could not be guessed. To say that Bilbo's breath was taken away is no description at all. There are no words left to express his stagger. Since men had changed the language that they had learned of elves in the days when all the world was wonderful, Bilbo had heard tell and sing of dragon hordes before, but the splendor, the lust, the glory of such treasure had never yet come home to him. His heart was filled and pierced with enchantment and with the desire of dwarves, and he gazed, motionless, almost forgetting the frightful guardian, at the gold beyond price and count. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sam, and I will be reciting an excerpt from The Boys in the Boat by Daniel James Brown. Mock glanced left, saw the German and Italian boats surging again, and knew that somehow the boys had to go even higher, give even more than they were giving, even as he knew they were already giving everything they had. He could see it in their faces, in Joe's contorted grimace, in John Hume's wide-open, astonished eyes, eyes that seemed to stare past him into some unfathomable void. He grabbed the wooden knockers on the tiller lines and began to bang them against the iron-bark knocker boards fastened to either side of the hole. Even if the boys couldn't hear it, maybe they could feel the vibrations. They did. And they immediately understood it for what it was, a signal that they needed to do what was impossible, to go even higher. Somewhere, deep down inside, each of them grasped at shreds of will and strength they did not know they possessed. Their hearts were pumping at nearly 200 beats per minute now. They were utterly beyond exhaustion, beyond what their bodies should be able to endure. The slightest miscue by any one of them would mean catching a crab and catastrophe. In the gray gloom below the grandstands, full of screaming faces, their white blades flickered in and out of the water. It was neck and neck now. Hume took the beat higher and higher until the boys hit 44. They had never rowed the side before, never even conceived of it as possible. They edged narrowly ahead, but the Italians began to close again. The Germans were right beside them. Deutschland! 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 Thundered in the boys' ears. Bobby Mock sat astride the stern, hunched forward, pounding the wood, screaming words no one could hear. The boys took one last mighty stroke and hurled the boat across the line. In the span of a single second, the German, Italian, and American boats all crossed the line. I just recited an excerpt from The Boys in the Boat by Daniel James Brown.
Hello, my name is Trinity Ann Bergerson, and I'll be reciting Isaiah 41, 1-13, New King James Version. Keep silence before me, O coastlands, and let the people renew their strength. Let them come near, then let them speak. Let us come near together for judgment. Who raised a from the east? Who, in righteousness, called them to his feet? Who gave the nations before him and made him rule over kings? Who gave them as the dust to his sword, as driven stubble to his bow? Who pursued them and passed safely by the way that he had not gone with his feet? Who has performed and done it, calling the generations from the beginning? I, the Lord, am the first, and with the last I am he. The coastlands sought and feared. The ends of the earth were afraid. They drew near and came. Everyone helped his neighbor and said to his brother, "Be of good courage." So the craftsman encouraged the goldsmith. He who smooths with a hammer inspired him who strikes the anvil, saying, "It is ready for the soldering." Then he fastened with pegs, that it might not totter. But you, Israel, are my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the descendants of Abraham, my friend. You, whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called from its farthest regions, and said, "You are my servant. I have chosen you, and am not cast you away. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you." I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Behold, all those who are incensed against you shall be ashamed and disgraced. They shall be as nothing, and those who strive with you shall perish. You shall seek them and not find them. Those who contended with you, those who war against you, shall be as nothing, as a non-existent thing. For I, the Lord your God, will hold your right hand, saying to you, fear not, I will help you. Isaiah 41, 1-13, New King James.
My name is Wyatt Harkin, and I shall be presenting 1 Kings 3, 16-28, New International Version. Now 2 prostitutes came to the king and stood before him. One of them said, "Pardon me, my lord, this woman and I live in the same house, and I had a baby while she was there with me. The 3rd day after my child was born, this woman also had a baby. We were alone. There was no one in the house but the 2 of us. During the night, this woman's son died because she lay on him. So she got up in the middle of the night and took my son from my side while I, your servant, was asleep. She put him by her breast and put her dead son by my breast. The next morning, I got up to nurse my son, and he was dead. But when I looked at him closely in the morning light, I saw that it was not the son I had born." The other woman said, "No, the living one is my son, and the dead one is yours." But the first one insisted, "No, the dead one is yours, and the living one is mine." And so they argued before the king. The king said, "This one says, my son is alive and yours is dead, while that one says, no, your son is dead and mine is alive." Then the king said, "Bring me a sword." So they brought a sword for the king. He then gave an order, "Cut the living child in 2, and give half to one and half to the other." The woman whose son was alive was deeply moved out of love for her son. She said to the king, "Please, my lord, give her the living baby. Do not kill him." But the other woman said, "Neither I nor you shall have him. Cut him in 2. The king then gave his rule. "Give the living baby to the first woman. Do not kill him. She is his mother." When all Israel had heard the verdict that the king had given, they held him in awe because they saw that he had risen from God to administer justice. 1 Kings 3, 16-28.
My name is Luciana Curran, and I will be reciting A Summer Day by Lucy Maud Montgomery. The dawn laughs out on Orient hills and dances with the diamond rills. The ambrosial wind but faintly stirs the silken beaded gossamers. In the wide valleys lone and fair, lyrics are piped from limpid air. And far above the pine trees free, voice ancient lore of sky and sea. Come, let us fill our hearts straight away with hope and courage of the day. Noon hiving sweets of sun and flower has fallen on dreams in wayside bower, where bees hold honeyed fellowship with the ripe blossom of her lip. All silent are her poppied vales, and all her long Arcadian dales, where idleness is gathered up, a magic drought in summer's cup. Come, let us give ourselves to streams by lisping margins of her dreams. Adown the golden sunset way, the evening comes in bubble gray. By burnished shore and silver lake, cool winds of ministering wake, and sweet low tinkling music rings about the lips of haunted springs. In the quietude of earth and air, 'tis meet we yield our souls to prayer. A Summer Day by Lucy Maud Montgomery. Thank you.
My name is Reagan Reuter, and I will be presenting Part 4 of The Lady of Shalott by Alfred Lord Tennyson.
In the stormy east wind straining, the pale yellow woods were waning, the broad stream his banks complaining, heavily the low sky raining, over towered Camelot. Outside the isle a shallow boat, beneath a willow lay afloat. Below the carven stern she wrote, "The Lady of Shalott." A cloud-white crown of pearls she dight, all reminated in snowy white, that loosely flew her zone in sight, clasped with one blinding diamond bright, her wide eyes fixed on Camelot. Though the squally east wind keenly blew with folded arms serenely, by the water stood the queenly,
Lady of Shalott, with a steady, stony glance, like some bold seer in a trance, beholding all his own mischance, mute, with a glassy countenance, she looked down to Camelot. It was the closing of the day. She loosed the chain and down she lay. The broad stream bore her far away, the Lady of Shalott. As when two sailors while they roam by creeks and outfalls far from home, rising and dropping with the foam, from dying swans wild warblings come, blown shoreward so to Camelot. Still, as the boat had wound along, the willowy hills and fields among, they heard her, chanting her death song, the Lady of Shalott. A long-drawn carol, mournful, holy. She chanted loudly, chanted lowly, till her eyes were darkened, holy, and her smooth face sharpened, slowly, turned to towered Camelot. For ere she reached upon the tide, the first house by the waterside, singing in her song, she died, the Lady of Shalott. Under tower and balcony, by garden wall and gallery, a pale, pale corpse she floated by, dead cold between the houses high, dead into towered Camelot. Knight and burgher, lord and dame, to the planked wharfage came. Below the stern they read her name, the Lady of Shalott. They crossed themselves, their stars they blessed, knight, minstrel, abbot, squire, and guest. There lay a parchment on her breast that puzzled more than all the rest the well-fed wits at Camelot. The web was woven curiously. The charm is broken utterly. Draw near, and fear not. This is I, the Lady of Shalott. Part 4 of The Lady of Shalott by Alfred Lloyd Tennyson.
Hello, my name is Emma Cook, and I will be reciting an excerpt from Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. Where is Papa going with that axe? Said Fern to her mother as they were setting the table for breakfast. Out to the hog house, replied Mrs. Arable. Some pigs were born last night. I don't see why he needs an axe, continued Fern, who was only 8. Well, said her mother, one of the pigs is a runt. It's very small and weak, and it will never amount to anything, so your father has decided to do away with it. Do away with it, shrieked Fern. You mean kill it, just because it's smaller than the others? Mrs. Arable put a pitcher of cream on the table. Don't yell, Fern, she said. Your father is right. The pig would probably die anyway. Fern pushed a chair out of the way and ran outdoors. The grass was wet, and the earth smelled of springtime. Fern's sneakers were sopping by the time she caught up with her father. Please don't kill it, she sobbed. It's unfair. Mr. Arable stopped walking. Fern, he said, I know more about raising a litter of pigs than you do. A weakling makes trouble. Now run along. But it's unfair, cried Fern. The pig couldn't help being born small, could it? If I had been very small at birth, would you have killed me? Mr. Arable smiled. Certainly not, he said, looking down at his daughter with love. But this is different. A little girl is one thing, a little runty pig is another. I see no difference, said Fern, still hanging on to the axe. This is the most terrible case of injustice I ever heard of. A queer look came over John Arable's face. He seemed almost ready to cry himself. All right, he said. You go back to the house, and I will bring the rent when I come in. I'll let you start it on a bottle, like a baby. Then you'll see what trouble a pig can be. When Mr. Arable returned to the house half an hour later, he carried a carton under his arm. Fern was upstairs changing her sneakers. The kitchen table was set for breakfast, and the room smelled of coffee, bacon, damp plaster, and wood smoke from the stove. Put it on your chair, said Mrs. Arable. Mr. Arable set the carton down at Fern's place. Then he walked to the sink and washed his hands and dried them on the roller towel. Fern came slowly down the stairs. Her eyes were red from crying. As she approached her chair, the carton wobbled, and there was a scratching noise. Fern looked at her father. Then she lifted the lid of the carton. There, inside, looking up at her, was the newborn pig. It was a white one. The morning light shone through its ears, turning them pink. He's yours, said Mr. Arable, saved from an untimely death. May the good Lord forgive me for this foolishness. Fern couldn't take her eyes off the tiny pig. Oh, she whispered, oh, look at him. He's absolutely perfect. an excerpt from Charlotte's Web by E.B. White.
Hello, my name is Finley Hertz, and I will be reciting The Road Goes Ever On by J.R.R. Tolkien. The road goes ever on and on, down from the door where it began. Now far ahead the road is gone, and I must follow if I can, pursuing it with eager feet, until it joins some larger way, where many paths and errands meet, and whither then, I cannot say. Roads go ever, ever on, over rock and under tree, by caves where never sun is shone, by streams that never find the sea, over snow by winter sown, and through the merry flowers of June, over grass and over stone, and under mountains in the moon. Roads go ever, ever on, under cloud and under star, yet feet that wandering have gone, turn at last to home afar. Eyes that fire and sword have seen, and horrors in the halls of stone, look at last on meadows green, and trees and hills they long have known. The road goes ever on and on, out from the door where it began. Now far ahead the road is gone. Let others follow it who can. Let them a journey new begin, but I at last with weary feet will turn towards the lighted inn, my evening rest and sleep to meet. The Road Goes Ever On by J.R.R. Tolkien.
They did a good job, didn't they? We're about to hand out awards, but to prepare us for that, and to show that teachers sometimes do the same things that their students do, I have a piece for you. And Audrey's excited. But I want you to listen, because I picked this piece specifically to think of how we give reward to those who have done excellent work. So see if you can hear that in this piece. Hello, my name is Mr. Kimball, and I will be presenting a selection from Up From Slavery by Booker T. Washington. While in Paris, we saw a good deal of the now rather famous American Negro painter, Mr. Henry O. Tanner, whom we had formerly known in America. It was very satisfactory to find how well known Mr. Tanner was in the field of art, and to note the high standing which was accorded to him by people of every class. When we told some Americans that we were going to the Luxembourg Palace to see a painting by an American Negro, it was hard to convince them that a Negro had been thus honored. My acquaintance with Mr. Tanner has reinforced in my mind the truth, which I am constantly trying to impress upon our students at Tuskegee and on our people throughout the country, as far as I can reach them with my voice, that any man, regardless of color, will be recognized and rewarded just in proportion as he learns to do something well, learns to do it better than someone else, however humble the thing may be. As I have said, I believe that my race will succeed in proportion as it learns to do a common thing in an uncommon manner, learns to do a thing so thoroughly that no one can improve upon what it has done, learns to make its services of indispensable value. When a girl learns to cook, to wash dishes, to sew, to write a book, or a boy learns to groom horses, or to grow sweet potatoes, or to build a house, or to be able to practice medicine as well or better than someone else, they will be rewarded in the long run. No man who continues to add something of material or intellectual or moral well-being to the place in which he lives will be long left unrewarded. Booker T. Washington, Up From Slavery by Booker T. Washington. And one of you students tell me the main point of that selection? You think you got it, Ben? Go for it.
Getting rewarded.
Getting rewarded? Good. And who will eventually be rewarded? Evelyn? Person who does well. The person who learns to do something diligently and to do something better than others can do it. There's something good and noble about seeking to excel. And all of you here in the front have excelled today. And all of you on the sides and in the back who did not get to be a finalist today, we can rejoice and give honor to the ones who have excelled today. And set our sights for future years to do better and better and better.